God, we just thank you, Lord, for all that you've done for us on tonight. Heavenly Father, have your way, Lord, in this service, Lord. Lord God, give us what we need to stand strong. Give us what we need, Lord, to do what is right. Give us what we need to be that witness to that soul that's lost out there. Lord God, bless the backslider. Touch him, allow him to be turned around before it's everlasting too late. Heavenly Father, allow your spirit to have its way in our life, Lord, that we may go before you in spirit and in truth. We ask you, Lord, for all these things. Let us all say in Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh, I just want to thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh, I just want to thank you, Lord, because you saved my soul. Oh, because you saved my soul. Because you saved my soul. Oh, I just want to thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh, I just want to thank you, Lord, because you saved my soul. Oh, because you saved my soul. Because you saved my soul. Oh, I just want to thank you, Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Can we just give our God a hand clap of praise on today? I don't know about you, but I feel it in this place on today. Hallelujah. And right now we present unto you our much-loved pastor, amen, Dr. Benjamin A. Jones. Can we receive him with a high amen? Amen. Amen.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord, everybody.
Praise the Lord.
Amen. We thank God for His goodness and His kindness unto us, and we're grateful to the Lord for blessing us to be here this evening. And amen. We know that God truly is able.
Yes, He is.
Amen.
Yes, He is.
And we're grateful for everything that He does on our behalf. We're so grateful for everything. Amen. We kind of want to follow up a teaching I started I guess it was a couple of weeks ago now, on instruction. We were in the book of Proverbs, but I'm going to direct your attention to Ecclesiastes chapter number 2. And so this would be a follow-up, part 2, to what we started, talking about the wisdom and power of instruction. And really it's the power of receiving instruction. And we started that in Proverbs, and in one of the Proverbs that was written by Solomon. And so in Ecclesiastes here, we're going to pick it up from a different vantage point, though. Picking it up from a different vantage point. And we trust that the Lord will help us to make that plain as we go along. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse number 3. The text reads, I sought in mine heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting mine heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life. So Solomon says here, in so many words, he says, I'm the guinea pig. I'm going to try this out. I'm going to see if I can figure out what works so I can tell other folks. Now, in terms of instruction, teaching, there are certain modes of instruction. Teachers are taught that there are people who learn in different ways. There are auditory learners, they learn through hearing. Then there are those who learn through seeing. Then there are those that learn through hearing and seeing. That's why Pastor Hill is really committed to using props when he teaches and preaches, because he really adheres to that mantra, to that application. And I told him that I would probably do that too, but that takes time and preparation, and a lot of times I don't have time and preparation. Like this past Sunday, I said, when I was using the example of going to the grocery store and getting stuff, I was going to get a grocery bag and put some stuff in it, put some groceries in there, and then use that as an example. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, you remember it anyway. All right. All right. Because that's what I endeavor to do, is give you a visual vocally. But anyway, the point that I'm making here is what Solomon is doing. He's saying, I'm doing both. I'm going to give it to you verbally, because actually when you look at a text, it's verb. I'm giving it to you verbally, but also I want to show you. I'm modeling it for you. In some of the residential programs, they have this philosophical approach. See it, what is it? Teach it, do it, see it. Well, I might have said it wrong. But the point is that your job is you learn it, then you teach it, and then somebody else sees it. And that's how it gets perpetuated. And I probably have mixed that up a little bit, but you get the point. that is an approach to having some aspect of life be learned, that people understand how to do it. And so that's what he's saying here. Look, I'm not just telling you. I mean, it's like when you hear people say, I'm not telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I know, what I experienced myself. So he starts out by saying, I sought in my heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting mine heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly. He said, I did that. I didn't wait to hear what other folks, because of course he had heard and all of that. But he said, I wanted to check this out for myself. Then he says, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life. I'm trying to do this because I want to be able to tell people what to do. I want to be able to tell people what they should do all the days of their life. We do this with our children sometimes. I did that so you don't have to. I made that mistake so you don't have to make that mistake. I went that way so you don't have to go that way. Right? Amen. So then he continues, and this is one of my favorite passages here in Ecclesiastes, this whole chapter. And I was trying not to read all of it. So I was trying to stop someplace, but I couldn't do it. So I'm going to try to be expeditious as I go through it. He said, verse number 4, this is what I did. I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees in them of all kinds of fruits. I made me pools of water to water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also I had great possessions of great and small cattle above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold, and the peculiar treasure of kings and of the provinces. I got me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So the verse number 9, this first clause, I want you to get this first clause. He said, so I was great. Lord have mercy. Somebody talk to me about this passage that we've just gone through. What does that say to you? Self-glorification, that's good. It's all about me. Yeah, nothing about God. It was all about him. I got that for me. I didn't get any of that I didn't get that for anybody else. I got it for me. But you know what else you see there? Is some honesty. Ooh, some honesty. He's being honest that, look, I did this for me. I'm not going to pretend like I did this for God. You know, like sometimes we hear people talking about they building $30 million places. Look what I did for God. And some of them, that may be true. But a whole lot of them, they didn't do that for God. That was for them. that was so, like the psalmist said, verse number 9, so I was great. I was great. See, so he said, look at what I went through to make me great. make me great. And this is one of the challenges in this life. It seems like we have all been put on a path to make ourselves great. Everybody want to be great, and then it ain't good enough just to be great. You got to be the greatest. You got to be the GOAT. Y'all don't know what some of y'all don't know what the GOAT is. Some sports. Elder Price, tell them what the GOAT is.
Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time.
I.e. LeBron James.
That deserves a hand clap. That's good.
I should have needed that.
You could have stopped before that.
See, and now what we're supposed to do is get in that debate. Well, is it LeBron or is it Michael Jordan? Who's the greatest of all time? So it ain't good enough just to be great. You got to be the greatest of all time. Yeah, the great Vince Clark. New International Version.
It says, I search my heart, how to gratify my flesh.
That's good.
He was saying just that.
It was gratifying. That's really good.
Gratifying his own flesh.
Well, he said also at, maybe that's actually, I think I left that out in verse number 2. I shouldn't have left that out where he's talking about seeking pleasure. Get verse number 2 in there. Maybe, is it 1? Maybe it's 1. Yeah, I said in my heart, go to now, I will prove thee with mirth. Therefore, enjoy pleasure. He said, enjoy pleasure. So you're right, that's exactly what this was about. This is like how to make me happy. You know, and somebody else said self-gratification. How to make me happy. And so he said, look, I went after it. I went after it. And the other thing that you just got to give God praise for is one thing to want to go after all manner of pleasure and not have the capacity to do it. He's got the capacity to create whatever pleasure he wanted. He has the ability. He's the king. He's been given wisdom and wealth. He can do it. This is why what we've seen in our time, where there are these wealthy people and famous folks who kill themselves with their fame. Elvis Presley, for example, they said he could buy a car every day if he wanted to, and would frequently just see somebody and just buy a car for him. He could just do it. And he certainly he would fulfill the needs of his flesh any way he wanted to. But that ended up killing him. He was taking almost 100 pills a day. 100 pills a day. Gratifying flesh. And some of the pills was because the other ones wasn't working well. So he had to mix and match. Other people, John Belushi, and I marvel at how many entertainers we've lost through this. John Belushi, you know, OD, just trying to please self. Heath Ledger, one of the younger guys, there've been a lot of young. Every time I hear about a young entertainer dying, I read further, and in my mind, I immediately think, I wonder if this is about drugs. Because you know what that's about? That's about pleasuring yourself, making yourself happy. So what Solomon does is he says, look, I'm trying to discover what it is that's good to do. Then he said, I got a bunch of stuff. I built me houses. I planted me vineyards. Verse 4 he said, I made me great works. And then he began to talk about the great works. But he did them for himself. He said, I did it for me. And then he goes through the whole litany of various things, and things that when people would look at him, they would say, boy, I want that. How many of us have envied a person that's wealthy and said, boy, I wish I had that money? You don't have to admit it. But I know in your lifetime, there have been an occasion when you have looked at a wealthy person and said, boy, I wish I had that money. You don't have to admit it. You don't have to admit it. I know it's true. I know it's true. Then we go even further because, see, look at what happens. It's not just wealth, but it's also what? Power or fame. He said, what does he say in verse 9? I was great. Sometimes people are getting wealth because they want the fame, they want power. I used to teach a program for people that were drug dealers. And one of the things I noticed that happened, and that many of them would say, is that they would get intoxicated by their power. They may not use any drugs, but they got high on the power, the influence. The fact that people would come to them and give them great respect, and that they could do anything and buy anything. He said, they would say, you just don't understand, Mr. Jones, that's just intoxicating. You know, to be able to just buy what you want to buy and have any girl you want to have. You know, that's why some of the guys, 16 years old, you tell them, don't sell drugs, you know, go get a job at McDonald's. They say, that's a big drop off. It's not just the money, but it's also the power, the influence. But see, that's why you want the clothes and the shoes and things, because it brings influence. It makes it seem like you're doing something. That's why you got people that don't have real money dressing like they do. You know, we've been notorious for that in our community. People that don't have a whole bunch of money wearing really expensive clothes and things because it says something about them. It's a status thing. And I'm saying this because that's how I grew up. I grew up wanting to dreaming about having a Cadillac, you know, or an electric 225, the sunroof top. Diamond in the back, digging the scene with a gangster link. Sister Johnson, you had your hand up.
Unfortunately, black people are famous for playing a part.
It's really infamous.
It's really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that I work for, in his office, he has think rich, dress poor.
And you know, a lot of wealthy people, you wouldn't even know they was wealthy sometimes. So now I look at Mark Cuban, he got on a little t-shirt, he got on a shirt, some blue jeans. Well, we would be dripping in things. We'd be dripping in gold and stuff. We'd have so much gold, we had to have somebody help us walk. We'd have so much gold dripped around us, and platinum and things. I had a big old platinum watch. If I wanted to look at it, you had to help me lift my hand so I could see it. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. And there's some psychology around this, and there's a reason for a lot of that stuff. You know, when you haven't had and you've been kind of put in a place, you kind of want to kind of ascribe to a certain lifestyle. You know,
Pay
your bills, but I even think, you know, beyond that, well, we got to, now I'm kind of going in a place, but I didn't really want to try to go down this street. But we got to get over ourselves. We really got to start to understand that, what did Jesus say? A man's life does not consist in the abundance of things in which he possesses. I am not what I wear. I am not the car I drive. I am not the house I live in. Because see, if I am the house I live in, I got to get a bigger house if I want to look like I'm somebody. Amen. Yeah. So, but if I begin to readjust my mind and understand that, those things don't make me who I am. Remember they used to have a saying that clothes makes a man. See, my thinking is that those clothes are nothing. That Armani suit, $3,000 suit is nothing. It's just hanging on a hanger until I put it on. Now it's something. You gotta have somebody like us wearing it. It's just, what is it? It's just hanging somewhere until you buy it and put it on. You the one that make it special. That's why the designers make it for you. They don't make it for the hanger. That's why they have models walking, wearing their stuff. They don't have no hangers going down the runway. They have somebody put that on. Because they make it, because they know it look better if people wear it. Lord, I thank you. My whole point, though, to this is what Solomon is trying to do is trying to let everybody know this is not what you think it is. This is not what you think it is. Let me continue to read. I do have a long way to go here, but I do want to, that verse number 9, that first clause, so I was great. He says, and I increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also, my wisdom remained with me. And whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy. For my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor, on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was what? Vanity and vexation of the spirit. And there was what? No profit under the sun. He said it was empty. When it says vanity, whenever he says vanity, it's like saying empty. In one text it says it's like chasing the wind. It says vexation of the spirit. That means like chasing the wind. Like chasing nothing. Chasing nothing. There's not anything you can even grab. See, now look at that. He said, I got me gardens, I got me this, I got me that. Then he says it was all to what? No profit. But now, what we don't know, as you're reading this text thus far, you don't know why he's saying there's no profit. You got to go a little further. Help us, Solomon. Verse number 12. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly, for what can the man do that cometh after the king? Even that which have been already done. Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, as far as light excelleth darkness. So wisdom, he said, is better. Verse number 14. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness. And I myself perceived also, here we go, that one event happeneth to them all. Then said I in my heart, as it happeneth to the fool, so it happeneth even to me. And why was I then more wise? Are you getting that? He says, wisdom is the principal thing. He said, but then when he really looked at it, hold up. What made me more wise than the rest of these folks? How is it when one event happened to everybody? Well, first of all, you all know what the one event is?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. He said, when he realized that, look, I'm going to die and the fool going to die. Yeah. You know, Solomon said, hold up. There's something wrong with that. Matter of fact, he didn't like it. Matter of fact, in one place he said, there's an evil under the sun. You know, he said, this just ain't right. That you can be wise all your life and die and end up in the same place as a fool. Woo, you got a message there. Stop it. Y'all didn't hear that, did you? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't repeat it.
Somebody preached it already.
Who did?
Bishop Bonner preached, don't be a fool of Mr. Ratchet.
Oh, okay. Don't be a fool and Mr. Rapture. That's good. All right, where did I stop? Verse what? Oh, wait a minute, I'm finishing 15. It says, then I said in my heart, this also is vanity. For there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever. Seeing that which now is in the days to come shall be forgotten. And how dieth the wise man? Basically, he said, you know, when it's all said and done, you know, the truth is, whatever you did and however wise you were, it's going to all be forgotten. I mean, think about it. How many of you know your great-great-grandfather? How many of you know some of you may actually know this because we got that, what's that thing they got now? Ancestor.com or whatever it is. So how many of you know your great-great-grandfather name, your great-great-great-grandfather's name? Anybody in there? You know your two people out of this crowd. Now you may know their name, but do you really know what they were and all of that? Now, what you probably know is what you can glean from the historical account. But I mean, the real point is, you can go far enough, we can go far enough back, you don't know nobody. In other words, eventually, if Jesus should tarry, eventually, grandparents get forgotten, parents get forgotten, everybody get forgotten. Elder Price.
And I was just gonna say, even if you can remember back, how often do you talk about it, right?
There you go. That's a good point.
How often do you bring up their life?
Yeah, that's right. Or what is it about their life that matters to you today?
Right.
That's kind of what he's getting at. He's saying, when you really think about it, this don't matter. That's important for us to remember. We make this life way too important. We make what we're doing now way too important. Well, I'm saying our existence on this planet, our existence on this earth. We can't live like this is it. Paul said, if in this life only we have hope, we are of all men most miserable. He said, if the dead rise not. If the dead rise not. So what we got if there's no resurrection? We might as well eat, drink, be merry, for tomorrow we die. Lord have mercy. Let me continue here. Well, that's verse number, did I read 16?
Yeah.
For there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever. He said forever. Then you ain't gonna remember the wise more than the fool forever. Seeing that which now is in the days to come shall be forgotten, and how dieth the wise man? As the fool. He asks a rhetorical question, then he answers it. How does the wise man die? Die like the fool. Therefore, get verse 17. First clause. We'll read that together. Therefore, wow. Wow. You know, that's why the Bible also says, to whom much is given, much is required. And, you know, and with knowledge there is sorrow. That's what he's saying. I done figured this all out. Now I'm like, I'm not happy. How can I be happy knowing this? He said, I hate my life with everything I done had. But I'm looking at it. When I die, I'm going to have the same event's going to happen to me as happened to the fool. Then he says, let me continue to read here. Verse 17, therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me. For all is vanity and vexation of spirit. Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. So he said, I'm doing all this work, and I'm leaving it to somebody. That's why for a long time I ain't want no life insurance. Lady Jones was not going to be sitting up with some bobo. And he got his feet kicked up on a marble table, riding in a Lamborghini, because I left $1 million. No, sir, no, man. But the Lord helped me with that. The Lord helped me with it, and I got a different mindset. My mindset now is, I want it to be taken care of, because I don't want her to have to go marry Bobo to live. I want her to be comfortable, so she can take her time. If I'm not here, she can take her time. Look out among the kingdom. Okay. Anyway, but this is what Solomon said. Solomon, he was kind of discussing it, but he didn't like that. I'm building all this stuff, and I'm getting ready to leave it to somebody. But the real problem was he actually said, and I love this because he's being so transparent here. He says, let's see, where did I stop? Because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? He said, now I done been wise and I done got all this stuff, and when I leave it to somebody, I may be leaving it to a fool who don't know what to do with it, spending it up, having himself a good time, and everything I done built up carefully. Well, you can tell Solomon didn't like that. He didn't like that at all. He says, where did I stop? Yea, I hated all. Where did I stop? 19. Yet shall he have rule over all my labor wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Therefore, I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom and in knowledge and in equity. Yet to a man that have not labored therein shall he leave it for his portion. This also is vanity, and he said, and a great evil. For what have man of all his labor and of the vexation of his heart, wherein he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief. Yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also bad. He said the man is up day and night working. And when he get through, he gonna die and lead us to somebody else. That sounds pretty bad, don't it? But pick up verse number 24. He says, there is nothing better for man than that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw that it was from the hand of God. I don't want to stop there. Give me, what's that next verse? Verse 25. For who can eat, or who else can hasten hereunto more than I? Verse 26. For God, this is what I wanted. For God giveth to a man that is good in his sight wisdom and knowledge and joy. So let me do that first part again. God giveth to a man that is good in his sight wisdom and knowledge and joy. But to the sinner he giveth travail, to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is what? Good before God. Give to him that is good before God. So he said, look, when he started to add God to the equation, now he's adding God to the equation. And you see that God knows how to make the thing right. In other words, the folks that are good in the sight of God, he said, they're not going to have to work that hard. The other folks are going to work hard and give it to them. You know, other folks are going to have to labor, and we're going to eat the fruit of their labor. That's kind of what he's saying here. But then you pick it up. He picks it up. Well, before I do this, go to Matthew 16. Matthew 16. Yes. Is laid up for the righteous. Absolutely. And so what Solomon is saying is, now I can see why we shouldn't be up all night worried about stuff and trying to work through the night and all those things. God is going to take care of you so that you don't hate your life. Lord, I thank you.
Amen.
So you won't hate your life. You see, you got to add God to the equation, but not only did he add God to the equation, he added another adjective. What was it? Probably got it. Good. He said, he added God, but he added good. Remember now, he's saying that it is for them that are obedient and are doing what God wants. When you add good and God to the equation, that changes things. What did I say? Matthew what? Go to, I'm trying to decide if I want just, much time to be. Okay, I'll just grab this one verse. Go to 16:26. Because this puts it in context. When you understand what he just said. Verse number 26. For, this is Jesus talking. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? So now he's saying, look, where is the real gain? And really, in the verses before that, he said, in order to get your life, you got to lose your life. Right? So we have to lose our life. But, you know, what he's saying is we have to lose the things that we think are valuable in our life.
Amen.
The things that we place the most store in. So those are the things we have to cut loose. Because see, that's what we think make up our life. Solomon said, I hate my life. Well, why did he say that? He said that because of the things that was in his life that he was not going to be able to hold on to. So Jesus says, in order to win your life, you got to lose it. And basically, you got to lose the things that are in your life. You got to lose those things. You got to let those things not have the preeminence. So in verse 26 he says, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? What is the profit if I shall gain the whole world and lose my soul? There is no profit. There is no real profit to that. Now go back to Ecclesiastes. Let's go to chapter 12 though. Let's go to 12, verse number 9. Verse number 9, it says, and moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still did what? Taught the people knowledge. Remember, that's what Solomon started out doing. He said this whole thing is about teaching people knowledge. Remember I said this is part 2, the instruction, right? So he says this is what this is about. He still taught people knowledge because the preacher was wise. He knew people needed knowledge. He said, and he gave good heed and sought out and set in order many proverbs. Verse number 10. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. Verse 11. The words of the wise are as goads. Now a goad is a stick with a pointy end, so that they put a metal tip on it, and they would use it to prod cattle to keep them moving. If they're plowing, they stick them with that prod, with that goad. That's where we get the term, you might hear somebody say, I was goaded into doing this. You were prompted, or you were provoked to go in a certain direction or to make a certain decision. So when they say goads, he's talking about this prod, this stick, with this pointed end that would be used to provoke the cattle to move in a certain direction. Well, how is that appropriate here? He said the words of the wise are as goads. Why would he use that metaphor? Hello? Brother Greg. Right, it's trying to prompt us to go in a particular direction. He said that's what the words of the wise are. They're trying to move us. They're trying to move us, and sometimes, you know what happened with the cattle when they get stuck with those things? You think they like it? No, they don't like it. But that's what happens sometimes when we get wise words. They don't always feel good. You get stuck with that, and you're like, well, maybe I don't want to go in that direction. It hurt. But if that's what it's going to take to get me going in the right direction, she took the words out of my mouth. I mean, let's just admit it, that sometimes we need to be prodded. We need to be prodded. We got our own direction. I'm sure them bulls sometimes are looking like, I don't want to plow this field. I don't want to go in this direction. I want to go over here, some water over there, and there's some stuff I can eat. But he said, no, we got this work to do right here. We got this work, good God Almighty, we got work to do right here. So if I got to prod you to get you going in the right direction, that's why the Bible says, forsake not the assembling of yourselves together, because when we come together, we're supposed to provoke each other, to prod each other to go in the right direction. That's why this Bible says, iron sharpeneth iron. But when iron is sharpening iron, it's not easy. That stuff is, we were at a meeting, at the brotherhood meeting, and Elder Coleman. Yeah. Elder Coleman said it'd be sparks flying. When you sharpening some metal, it'd be sparks flying. I mean, to get that sharp, that metal against metal causes sparks. Well, yeah, but if you want to be sharp, sometimes we need some sparks. Sometimes we got to be prodded. Sometimes it's got to hurt a little bit. And you know, can I say this? You know, sometimes we're scared to say things to people because they're going to leave church. I ain't trying to run people out of church. They gonna say, you know what, I ain't coming back to that church. Because I asked you to do right. I mean, because we teach and doing right over here.
Watch out.
Cry loud and spare not.
That's what he told us, right?
Amen.
And so, but you want people to appreciate that sometimes, I mean, even what does the word tell us about God? It said, if we receive not chastisement, then we are not sons, but I was going to let y'all say that.
Watch out.
That's right. Now, I want him to deal with me as a son. And if you need to chastise me a little bit, chastise me. If you need to choke me up some, if you need to get me going in the right direction, do what you got to do. You know, because that's what happens sometimes with them bulls. They get to wandering, but they have to get prodded to bring them back in line. You know, they got to be prodded to get back in line because they're wandering in the wrong space. So sometimes we have to have that. Sometimes God has to step on our toes so that we walk right.
Amen.
Lord have mercy.
That's love.
Yeah.
Pastor, that's love.
That is love, isn't it? And that's why, you know, some parents mess their children up, not chastising them. You know, picking them up and things all the time. Sometimes you gotta let them stay right there. You gotta let them stay. You gotta let them cry a little bit. I know some parents didn't let their kids play in the dirt. Now, some of them, they need to play in the dirt. They need to get dirty. They'll be all right. They're all pampered and things. Then when they go to school and people bump into them, they want to, you know, they start crying. No. I remember I had a younger brother. I think it was Minister Truett that said this about Ant. If I'm not mistaken. He said, you don't want to mess with them. That boy grew up in the dirt. that's how he was. That boy grew up in the dirt. You don't want to mess with that fella. Yeah, he grew up in the dirt. Yeah, but, you know, but sometimes, God, I'm going to tell you this, God is not going to pamper us.
Yes.
He's not going to pamper us. No, he is not winking at sin. And if we get out of line, we don't want him to let us stay out of line. Amen. If I'm wrong, Lord, bring me back. And if I'm resistant, drag me back.
Amen. Please.
Yeah, knock me back. Get me back in line. Don't let me stay there. Don't give me up to a reprobate mind.
Amen.
Lord, I thank you. Let me finish this up here. The words of the wise are as goads and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies. So these words, they're like nails that nail things down and fasten them and keep them from blowing off with the wind. That's what those wise words are like. Amen. That nail things down to stop stuff from falling apart. You can tell when stuff hasn't been nailed down properly, they fall apart. But if you've got wise words, you got more stability. You've been fastened. It says, which are given from what? One shepherd. Verse number 12. And further, by these my son, be admonished of making many books, there is no end. And much study is weariness of the flesh. Verse number 13. Let us hear the conclusion of a whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. This is how you, remember they started off with the question, what is it good that man should do under the sun? He ends up right here. This is it right here. Fear God, keep his commandment. He said, look, I didn't check it out for you. You don't have to check it, I checked it. I checked out pleasure, I checked out wine, I checked out women, I checked out this, I checked out that. And it's all vanity and vexation of the spirit. It don't go nowhere. It ain't take you nowhere. But if you do this right here, now you got something. So what we're living for is we're not living to leave a legacy here. We're living to take our legacy into eternity. Right? That's what our legacy is. It's living forever. Because I don't care what you do. You got a building built with your name on it. One day, if Jesus should tear up this world, should last that building coming down with your name on it. That's why Jesus would say, don't place your treasure here, but place it where? On things above. Put it above, where the moth don't corrupt and the thieves can't steal. Woo, good God Almighty. Got to know where to put our treasure. Can't put all the treasure here. Matter of fact, we need to wear this world like a loose garment. Some of us got the world wearing it so tight, when Jesus comes, you're going to be like, I got to take this with me. You ain't going to be able to go up. Because you're trying to hold on to stuff and things. All right, I'm through. Let's give the Lord some praise. Hallelujah. Lord, we thank you. Amen. So we thank God for his word. We're looking for him to help us. Looking for him to help us. And he's given us his word to help us. So we just need to be wise about that. All right, any announcements? Any announcements? Yes. What time is that meeting?